Well, here we are again. Welcome to Mind Your Own Business, little inside joke there. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being here. I have a little something different in store for us today. I hope it serves you. I hope you think it's fun. And I want you to imagine, just go grab your coffee or tea, or just imagine that you have it. I just want to imagine that we're just sitting around a table and we're going to have a little coffee chat, little coffee and tea with Dr. E. Okay. Here comes a couple more people and I'll tell them again what we're doing. So welcome to the call. I just got started. Hi, everyone. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to imagine that we're having coffee and tea with Dr. E and that we're all just sitting around a table and we're all just going to chat as friends. And I just want to imagine just being with all of you and how fun that would be. And so what I want to do, I don't know, maybe it was a month or two ago, I went to an event that had minus Brendon Burchard, had every single mentor that I look up to all on the same stage. And so it was like Disneyland for me, it was really, really fun. And I brought home, my favorite quotes. And I was going through my success journal last night and I thought, I'm just going to share my favorite quotes with you and then we can discuss how they pertain to APL Go. So grab your coffee or tea with Dr. E. Let's imagine we're sitting around a table. I'm going to put the first round of quotes in the chat room. And my first round of quotes, yes, she believed she could, and so she did, are from Les Brown. So any of these, if you want to pick and share what you think about these as it pertains to APL Go. But he said, we make decisions and our decisions make us. He said, you can't fit a big dream into an undisciplined mindset. He also said, growing up, in the industry, until you make your first million, I'm not taking advice from you. And he was very specific about only quality people. He calls them OQP, only quality people. And the last one, you got to be disciplined. What's the discipline? He goes, the discipline is the work. So I would love to just start with these round of quotes and see what your thoughts are about how this pertains to you and your APL Go journey in business.
I think that for the discipline piece, it's something that when you have the structure of a 9 to 5, it's almost easier to be disciplined. And what I've run into recently is having to have a structure, having to have a plan for the day, because I think somebody was mentioning earlier, getting caught up in all the busyness. And I was like, all of those messages that come out around discipline, get off the TV, get off the scrolling, get off all of those things. I'm like, what are people talking about? Until, and then the other breakthrough that I had was I realized that part of my mindset was that I was playing hooky. And now that I realize I'm not playing hooky, I get to be home, I get to do all this stuff. It's a different set of rules around discipline.
Oh my gosh.
Great
Left
point.
to our own devices, we're like this, aren't we? Like it's the greatest blessing and the greatest difficulty. Anyone else? Thank you, Lisa. And you do look gorgeous. It's because it's Veterans Day. She just looks gorgeous. Look at her. And happy Veterans Day, Joby. Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank
Thank you, and thank you, Lisa. We started it out together, Lisa and I, in officer candidate school together, if you can believe that. Officer candidate school in
Unbelievably amazing.
1984, Lisa. That's our friendship.
1983.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lordy. We look like just like children.
Who else has a thought about the quotes?
I do. I want to go with I want to jump on Lisa's again.
Did you hear that?
Hold on, honey.
I said I was a captain by then.
Yes. Cheryl says she was a captain by the time you and I began.
Oh,
Lisa,
happy Veterans Day, Cheryl.
Happy Day, Cheryl.
Happy Cheryl. Anyway, I think it's funny. We when Cheryl's at her dad's, there's just stuff that you can do. We come into my mom's and there's stuff that she takes up the air, right? We're there for a reason. We both chose to change our lives, to change our businesses such that we could care for her father down here, we could care for my mom in Michigan. But then we were here, we've been down in Texas for 4 days and we've tried really hard to, before dinner, take a moment, or after dinner last night, we finally cleaned out what they call a sleeping porch, a big screened-in porch. People joke down here, we have more square footage outside our house than inside our house, which is the truth. Well, we cleaned it all up and hosed it all down and, threw everything out. And it's like, when we're down here, we own our time differently. you know, so Lisa's like being that master of your time. And it's shocking how much time, unless you're disciplined, unless I'm getting up every morning now and I'm trading from 8 to 9:30. But until I couldn't do that at home because other things, you know, at my mom's house, I mean, other things were competing. And so I think it's until Lisa, until we have that, what are the non-negotiables? During this time of my calendar, I'm doing this. During this time of my calendar, I'm doing this. During this time, my calendar. And I'm trying to work very hard to manage my trading, my APL Go, and my sanctuary. And, you know, keep them in buckets, but still do the work. You know, that last one from Les Brown, to do the work. So thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Aaron, for helping me
Yeah, thank you.
process today.
Anyone else have a desire to talk about one of these? Thanks, Joby.
Oh.
Kristen?
I'll
And then
just say
Kelly?
that we make decisions and our decisions make us. I feel like there's been so much I've been reading, listening to, and everything in the past 2 weeks. And that it's not just your conscious decisions, but your unconscious decisions. And every little
Mhm.
decision you make throughout the day is really what makes you at the end of the day and going forward. So decisions has
amazing.
become very important for me lately.
That's amazing.
I agree.
Tom Bilyeu, he's another speaker that spoke. He's my favorite, has Impact Theory on YouTube, the biggest online show. He says basically the only skilled business owners need is decision-making skills. And when you can figure that out, and I think for me, Kristen, that means a decided heart is actually what's required. That's from Andy Andrews' book, The 7 Decisions. But a decided heart, I mean, I decided I was going to build APL Go. Until it no longer serves my family, I will stay here. So I don't wake up wondering, is it going to work out? The questions that come to my mind are different when you've made a decision, aren't they?
Yeah.
The questions, I don't have to question. I don't know how it's all going to go, but I have decided. Yeah. Kelly, did you want to say something? We'll move on.
Yeah, I can't get over just how much my life has changed in the last couple weeks since getting involved with the Michael Burnoff thing. The way my life is, I don't have to do the work.
Mhm.
I can kind of afford pretty much whatever I want. I am literally the last person left in my entire family. I am accountable to no one. It's a very, very strange position to be in life, and I don't like it. So thank God for APL Go. Thank God for you, Dr. Aaron. Thank God for this Michael Burnoff thing, because it has just 180 degrees yanked me into getting shit done. Pardon me, but it
Yes.
really has. And I do the work now like crazy, and I can't get over it. It's almost subconscious. I don't even have to think about it. It's like, this needs to get done, I do it. This needs to get done, I do it. And I do it fully. I used to half-ass everything, and I'd go, okay, yeah, I'll do this. And then I do part of it and then go, oh, okay, I'm sick of this. I don't feel like finishing it.
Wow. Good for
It's
you.
amazing how things have changed for me. And, you know, things have needed to happen that I weren't within my control. I needed
Yep.
things done with my house, and I had things that were dependent on other people's schedules, and they're getting done now. And as that is happening, it's putting momentum in my life for other things that I need, you know, that are helping me, you know, move forward too. And God, the momentum is just incredible. And
Cheers.
yeah, I'm just so excited about everything now. And I just wasn't before. I was just, you know, kind of in this hole, and wow.
You
So
are a bright, bright light, Kelly. And something you said that I think pertains to all of us is whether or not we can pay our bills, we don't have to be here at APL Go. So someone told me once, there's a million ways to get rich. You better pick one that you like. So if you find team, or you find yourself saying, this has to work for me, there's nothing else like I don't have any other options, that's not true. You're choosing to be here. And so Kelly, even, and understanding our vocabulary around, I'm choosing this path. I'm choosing APL Go. I don't have to do this. None of us have to do this. You know, I love that.
I believe in this so much.
Okay, I'm going to
you know,
send the next one. Jesse Itzler is married to Sarah Blakely, who owns Spanx. Jesse Itzler is a gazillionaire, incredible man. He says, entrepreneurship is believing, did I post this?
Not yet.
Just a second, my thing is like, I can't maximize it there. Sorry. Entrepreneurship is believing the end of your story. I don't negotiate my goals. So the path might change, but it's believing the end of your story. Self-doubt is the only barrier to success. I want to say one thing, and then I want to hear from you. So when we shared our book club ahas this week from Leaders Lab, Matt Morris in the 7 Secrets, he said this: making $1 million was one of the easiest things I've ever done. Believing it could happen to me was one of the hardest. And I'm trying to put in a container for who I coach. Like, how do I get you to be where I am? Where now it's like, it's just inevitable. And the suffering of it's never going to happen for me. And this idea that entrepreneurship is believing the end of your story, that you will do whatever it takes, that your job is not to figure out the how. That's not your job. Your job is to say, what can I do right now? Actually, that would be in the service of that. So that's my little thought on that. So I would love to hear what you think about that quote and APL Go. Monica.
Up on that one. Oh, go ahead.
Thank
Oh.
you. So I think it's just, I can believe how true that is. When the
What?
first time I talked to,
I can't
can
hear
you
you.
hear me? No?
Nope.
Damn it. And I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
That's better. Can you start over?
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying that the first time that I was in touch with APL Go, and actually the first time I talked to Joby, I told her 2 or 3 things or more. But the 2 most important things I told her was, I want to retire the Mexican way, which was 55 years old. Now it's no longer. But that was one of the first things I told Joby. And then the other important thing I told her is like, I want to have enough money to go on a trip to Italy. And well, that is partially true because, well, I set up my mind to go to Italy and to do these goals. I still have not enough money to be able to go, but I am so sure that the success will come, that I just went into the trip and I know the money will come somehow. And
Wow.
as long as I keep working hard and doing whatever I need to do, I'm sure it will come. So, and this is how I am here today, here with you, but here in this country. And here, I mean, I did my MBA exactly the same way. I had money for 6 months and I finished it. So I just walk and then I figure out the rest.
Yes, yes, you just
Person.
walk, you walk. That's the
Yeah.
path. 1 foot in right now, 1 foot in faith. 1 foot now, 1 foot in faith. That is the walk of the entrepreneur. And ask yourselves on this call, how does it change your energy when you remove the question of, is it going to work, to a different question? Like, ask yourself, what does that actually feel like? Just take that off the table of, is this going to work? So Yvette, you had something. Thank you, Monica. Powerful.
Yes. This, you're saying this one right now is what I was dealing with, or actually was saying to myself last night, because so much has been going on and it's like, I can't gather myself. And last night I was like, you know, it's about where I want to be. And even though these little things are coming up or showing up, it's just pay attention to them, appreciate them, be grateful for them, and then just focus on the vibration of what you want to attract to you. And so that helped me to like come back into alignment, because I was feeling that I had to do everything, be on every meeting, going through this class, and I got chats with them going on. And so it's like, just go through. I made the decision, your first comments, I made the decision to be where I am right now. And so one thing that I'm glad that I did not do was to figure out or look at what I would be experiencing once I made that decision, because then I would not have made it.
Amen. None of us would have. If
Right.
we would have known.
If you would have known. But at the same time, in these
I love
last
you.
3 weeks, I signed up someone in the Philippines. I reactivated someone in Mexico. And this morning, a lady called me through the Facebook, and she's from Germany.
She called you
And,
through the Facebook?
She
I love
messaged
you,
me.
Yvette.
Yes. I said, how did you find me? And she's like, I found you on social media. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And she wanted
my
to know about the business. And she's actually, she moved to Texas. She's in Texas, and she reached out. So
Well,
it's,
I'm sure
I
she
just
lives
hope-
next door to Joby, so I'm sure we'll be meeting her soon.
in Arlington.
Austin,
Yvette.
say it with me. I'm at Austin, Texas. Say it with me. Austin.
Austin,
Come on.
it's not Arlington, Arlington.
Austin.
It's,
Okay.
Texas is a little tiny.
But anyway,
small
oh, okay.
state. I'll find her.
Oh, just say it. Got it.
You're amazing. Thank you, Yvette. Anyone else before we go to the next one?
Yeah, I have something to say. Well,
Okay.
first off, is that like, I mean, how could we follow that, right?
Thank
So
you.
I love those quotes. We've all heard borrow someone else's belief until your own belief catches up. And I think it's so true. And how often do we all believe in each other before we believe in ourselves? And that's one thing that I really love about this team and this community, is that any one of you, I can see your end story multiple times over, a lot of times before you see it yourself. And I know that you do the same for me. And the cool thing about entrepreneurship and believing the end of your story is that our story is always changing. And so it's exciting, it's scary, but it's awesome that we can continue to push ourselves and believe for new goals and believe that we'll get there. And then when we get there, there's another goal, another chapter of our story. So I don't know, those were my thoughts.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Pamela, that's
Steve Jobs says something like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And when I was on Fraser's podcast, I was like, oh, that's why I had to have 10 years of suffering in this industry. Like, it's just, and now I try to ask very quickly when I'm suffering is, I wonder when it will be revealed to me why this is a perfect part of my story. And that changes your suffering. That changes your suffering. Okay, I've got the next quote. This one's from Brad Lee. He's an gnarly, masculine, awful speaking man, but I like this quote. Okay, things take time can be an excuse. Being patient can be an excuse. No, go kick the door down. So my coach, Melanie, talks about how time is just a man-made construct, right? And so if we think, for example, it's going to take me 6 years to become a millionaire, that's just completely arbitrary. Like, we can actually collapse time, and I could be better at what I do, for example, and collapse time. It's happened. So I was on Fraser's podcast. Someone's reaching out to me. She wants me to coach with her. I'm sure she'll say yes, and she'll give me, $4,000. That took 2 days. Okay. So why do we have this construct of things take time? And Tina Melsom said this: if people ask you, is this a get rich scheme? She says, I sure hope it is. That sounds a lot better than the get rich slow. So why do we do this construct of like, I'm sure I just have to put my 10 years in? Why would that be the case for APL Go? Why couldn't you just go? So anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I would love to hear your thoughts on this quote.
Aaron, this is maybe it's a limiting belief of mine. It's a factor. You know, I'm a serial entrepreneur, right? I'm doing multiple things. And then caring, like as a caregiver. And so the struggle for me is not believing from the end, all that kind of stuff. I've always believed it'll work. I'm not sure the when, but I struggle with being in flow, like doing the work, trusting the process, and I think I feel like I need to get better at that. Like, just do the work, and then the fun thing is someone from France is going to call me on the Facebook and they're going to blow up the business, or we heard Sarah Shabbat yesterday on Travis's. Sarah put in somebody who put in 40 people last month. And you're like, that's what network marketing is. Somebody's going to blow it up. You just never know who. How did I get a hold of Monica, who's going to own Mexico someday? And then of course, vacation in Italy or, next to George. But the point is, you meet Kristen too, with an E. I've known Lisa forever, but I've just met these two women, but they're changing my life and I'm in relationship with them, so it's kicking the door down maybe by doing the work, so this one is a real both and for me. So I don't feel so overwhelmed that I can't freaking sleep at night, like I'm not doing any of it good enough. And so those are all probably tapes I've had for a long time. And as I mature into my next decade, I'm figuring out how to be with them and dance with them and know that by doing the work a little every day, I am kicking the door down. If that makes any sense to you at all, you can go ahead and push back on that or.
Oh, no, I'm just here to listen. Great. Good for you.
It's an interesting journey.
Thank you.
I'm
I
gonna,
think that's,
I'm gonna kind of agree with Joby there too, because I think part of it for me is a limiting belief, that it has to take this certain amount of time that,
Yeah.
I'm always aware of. It's God's timing. It's not my timing, and he's never late. But I also want to just bring this up is, Dr. Aaron, you just said it took 2 days. You were on Fraser's podcast and someone reached out to you. And of course, yes, she'll say yes. And that took 2 days. However, did it really take 2 days? Because how long did it take you to be ready to be on Fraser's podcast? If it was 6 years ago, if it was 5 years ago, if it was 2 years ago, you wouldn't have been ready, and that 2-day timeline would not have happened. So, and I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I'm just saying it took you 10 years to get to a 2-day success, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I think when we talk about the limiting beliefs and that kind of thing, I think the thing that broke the door down for me or kicked the door down is sort of a kicking the door down every day with that new thing that I'm saying, execute every day, and really ignoring the time. And it sounds weird, but especially since I figured out the hooky thing, that time's not a function anymore. And there's a tremendous amount of support that it takes from all of you, which I so appreciate, because this is not an experience that I had in the corporate world. And I think because there's such a microcosm and there's only so much place to go. You can only go up so
there's
far.
only so much time too, that you can
Right.
make in an hour, so to speak.
Right.
Yep.
And so there's sky's the limit. It's unlimited. And so time is unlimited. The support that I've had just in the last, call it a year, from all of you, even thinking good thoughts for me, even if there was questions or any of that kind of stuff, and not just thinking good thoughts, but the push, the example that y'all set, and then hopefully that I'm setting as well, I think is and the support that I have from Bill to just do this. And so that kind of exits that or eliminates that piece for me. So when we talk about limited, eliminate
Nice.
the time function.
Someone be on the lookout for when people ask you, well, how long have you been doing it? Because it's not about time in network marketing. Network marketing is it's based on skill set and it's based on leverage. And so you will make more doing less in this business. And if you're not ready for that, it'll freak you out because it's a totally different strategy. It's not the treadmill strategy that the more Erin runs, the more money she makes. It's a totally different strategy. And so when people ask you, how much time have you been doing this? They're only thinking like we've been trained.
linear.
And
Yes.
linear.
Yeah.
And so it actually depends on how many humans you talk to, your skill set, how coachable you are. Do you have the world's greatest comp plan? Yes. Do you have a product that everyone wants? Yes. And so we collapsed time here and made 10,000 in our first month never even came close to that in a whole year. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at your thoughts about how long do you think this has to take you, you know? And is that limiting you? Okay, last one. APL Go is collapsing time for us. So last one, Ed Milet, love him. He's a Christian man. From what I can tell, he talks about God and stuff. But anyways, he says, heaven is when you die and you're hanging out with your twin, your ideal self, and you totally recognize that person. Hell is being perfect strangers to that person at the end of your life. And so just think about, who do you want to show up as, you know, in APL Go? And who do you want to be? And how do you want to do your life? How do you want to be with others? So I know that's a good one, huh? Like that's my goal, is to get to the end of my life and be like,
Punch in the face.
job well done. Like we did pretty good, didn't we?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just end on that. I know it's a wow quote. I wanted to give you, let's end on that because we have to end. But thank you everyone for having coffee and tea with Dr.
Really good
E.
stuff, Dr. Aaron. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for playing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Why I don't have my coffee?
Great.